Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters, France 24's correspondents worldwide. In this edition, the harrowing story of a man arrested, tortured and imprisoned for almost a decade, all for something he didn't do. In the wake of the 9/11 terror attack, questions have been asked about the tactics used by the West in the war on terror. Extraordinary rendition saw many suspects flown to other countries where beatings and torture were used to extract information and sometimes confessions. Our report features a man whose life has been shattered by this process, a man who's still seeking answers and compensation for his ordeal.
Abu el-Qasim Britel loves to run in the old town of Bergamo in Italy, outdoors in the fresh air, but for years this was impossible.
It does me good. Sometimes I have a flash. I say to myself, Qasim, you're free now. You're not.
An Italian citizen of Moroccan descent, Britel spent 9 years behind bars, caught up in the war on terror by mistake from Pakistan to Morocco. 3 years after his release, this is the first time he's agreed to talk about what happened.
For me, during that time, it was as if I was asleep. And then I woke up and all of a sudden, 10 years had passed. I find it hard to accept that.
Britel knows he will never get back those lost years. While he's been reunited with his wife and returned home, he still has no work. So he does household chores to combat his depression.
It's something that happened to me. It's hard to forget. The suffering, every day I feel it. It's a tragedy.
A tragedy that began in mid-2001. Britel went to Pakistan to study Islam. After the events of September 11th, U.S. President George Bush launched the war on terror. While in Pakistan, police roundups of immigrant Arabs increased. In March 2002, Britel was arrested by the authorities. Then came the secret police. He tells of long interrogations and torture, beatings with a cricket bat, hours spent handcuffed and hung from the ceiling. U.S. intelligence officers grilled him about Osama bin Laden and offered him a deal.
They said, I want to make a deal with you. You tell me where to find Osama bin Laden, and we'll give you a car. We'll offer you whatever you want. I told him I don't know anything. You're wasting your time with me.
A few weeks later, he was exfiltrated out of Pakistan.
One of the guards told me, you, Italy. You'll go to Italy. Like, I don't understand the language. He told me, you, Italy. But they actually sent me to Morocco.
Sent to Morocco on one of those secret CIA flights. A flight identified by a European Parliament Commission of Inquiry. May 23, 2002, a Gulfstream jet registered to Aero Contractors leaves the U.S. state of North Carolina. Arriving in Pakistan, Britel is forced aboard. May 25th, he arrives in Rabat.
When the plane landed, the door opened and I heard someone say with a Moroccan accent, gently, gently, there are steps. I realized then that I was in Morocco. After the plane, I was put directly into a car and I left, without going through customs or passport control, nothing. Quarter of an hour later, we arrived at Tamara.
Tamara, a prison that does not exist according to Moroccan authorities. However, many human rights groups claim it's one of the secret prisons used by the CIA. For Britel, it's hard to forget what happened to him there.
They wanted to torture me. I undressed and I said to them, what do I look like? What more do you want? They told me to get dressed. At Tamara, I didn't suffer much physical torture apart from a few slaps. But the psychological torture, yes. I've suffered much in Tamara.
He was interrogated repeatedly by Moroccan security services. After 8.5 months, he was released. May 16, 2003, Bertel nears the border with Spain to return to Italy. At the same time, 600 kilometers away, 12 suicide bombers blow themselves up in Casablanca. 45 people are killed. Bertel was arrested again, sent back to Tamara, and placed in solitary confinement for 4 months, until the day when he was summoned by his captors.
I was blindfolded with my hands tied up like this. They asked me to sign. They made me sign about 20 pages. Sign, sign, sign.
Without knowing it, he had just admitted membership in a terrorist group. In October 2003, he was tried and sentenced to 15 years in prison with no evidence other than his confession. A conviction reduced to 9 years on appeal. April 14, 2011, he was pardoned by King Mohammed VI a year before the end of his sentence. Bertel is convinced that Morocco jailed him to win favor with the U.S. and Italy.
How is it possible that an Italian citizen was kidnapped, tortured, delivered to the US, illegally transferred by plane, while Italy supposedly knows nothing?
Italian justice has finally exonerated Bertel. One of the few public figures to have defended him during his ordeal is the former mayor of Bergamo, Roberto Bruni.
Hello, Mr. Mayor.
I'm no longer mayor.
Yes, but for me you still are.
People tend to be wary when it comes to a person's race, I mean a different ethnicity, even if they are Italian citizens. And if you add the label of terrorist or suspected terrorist, well...
In this region, where xenophobic parties like the Northern League have strong support, the socialist mayor has been accused of siding with the terrorists.
For me, it's a real injustice. I tried to intervene. I felt there was a real cause to defend. Alas, it was not perceived as such by the public. It's sad but true.
Qasim received neither an apology nor compensation from the Italian state. During his captivity, it was his wife Anna, a native of Bergamo and a convert to Islam, who led the fight. She faced down the Italian investigators who accused Qasim of being active in Islamist circles and taking part in paramilitary training in Afghanistan. In September 2006, Bertel was cleared of those charges by a tribunal of judges in Brescia. Anna also visited Morocco 30 times. She went straight to the top in Italy, seeking the release of her husband. It was all in vain until the royal pardon came from Morocco. Ironically, Anna felt most useful when her husband was in prison.
When he came back, that was the hardest time. And it's not over, because the symptoms of his ordeal are still with us every day. We have both changed now a lot.
One of the toughest parts of the day when Anna heads off to work at the town library, leaving Qasim at home trying to put his life back together. One of his rare outings of the week is Friday prayers at the mosque in a soulless suburb of Bergamo. To make a little money, he sells religious items to the faithful after the service is over.
Thank you, my brother.
No, thanks to you, my brother. You always have the things we need.
Thank you.
But on that day, for the first time, the police get involved.
I'm leaving.
Your papers, sir. You know this creates problems here. Do you have a street vendor license or not?
No, I just wanted to ask for one.
You know the penalty, 5,540 euros. I tell you this because there are people here and that creates a complicated situation.
So I had a tragedy here in Bergamo that nobody knows about. I'm not working, I have nothing.
His chance to earn some money just vanished. Is that your only way to make money?
Yes, otherwise you have to steal to survive.
Prison made Kasim more religious. Before, he liked to walk in the old town of Bergamo in the middle of the churches and basilicas, but no longer. How do you feel when you hear the church bells?
They annoy me. They rub me the wrong way. I'd much prefer the call of the muezzin. The muezzin represents something useful for everyone, not just for Muslims. It displeases me greatly that people don't know the truth. Because there is no God but Allah.
He is convinced that Muslims are victims of a Western conspiracy. He questions the official version of the September 11th attacks. He does not talk of jihad, but since he went on a pilgrimage to Mecca, he dreams of living in a land of Islam.
Women are covered up, men are dressed in a more Islamic way.
You like that?
Yes, it pleases me greatly, living in a country like Saudi Arabia where religion is something that is immediately obvious.
He didn't go because Anna wants to live near her parents and she doesn't speak Arabic. Worn down by his experiences, Bertel has found unlikely support a world away in North Carolina, the same U.S. state from which his secret flight originated. There, activists he's never seen post his picture in public places. In charge, Christina Cowger, a biology teacher. For the first time, they talk via Skype.
Hi, Christina. I can't find the words to thank you for all that you do.
We feel very sad to live in a country where so many people have ignored what happened to Kasim and to so many other people.
She tells him that a coalition of Christian and human rights groups have launched a campaign to ask the American, Italian, Pakistani, and Moroccan governments to apologize to Kasim.
We wish we could do more.
I feel it's crazy. The Americans on one hand made everything so hard for me. And on the other hand, there are these people who are trying to help me and sacrifice their time for me. It amazes me.
Ciao Cristina. Grazie ancora.
Grazie mille.
To give his life some meaning, Kasim tries to translate religious texts, but he can't really get into it, haunted as he is by the past.
What happened to me was done on purpose. That's why I cannot forgive those who did it. 9 years of tragedy, and for what? It's still not over. I suffer every day. The truth is, I still feel like I'm in prison.
To escape, he hopes that time will heal his wounds with the help of Allah.
Our reporter Mark Perelman joins us now. Mark, fascinating film and a remarkable story to hear and to discover. This man clearly, and possibly rightly, trusts few people. Why did he choose to speak to you?
Well, it took time to have him on air because I first got in touch via email with his wife, and she told me, no, he's not ready to talk to you. It's too much pain. He isn't feeling it. And so eventually she gave me his email address. I exchanged emails with him, explained to him what I would like to do. We had a Skype exchange, and then after more time to think about it, he accepted, but it was clearly difficult for him to speak out in the media for the first time.
Clearly, he is broken, certainly damaged by his experiences,
yes.
Struggling to hold it together. What realistic future does he have?
Well, it's a big question mark. He clearly is unemployed. When he's looking for a job, he doesn't really look for it. And obviously, as you can see, there is clearly he's identified as a Muslim, as a religious Muslim, and someone who had a 10-year hole in his CV, and so people are not keen to give him a job. And so he's thinking, he's dreaming of maybe Saudi Arabia or land of Islam, but his Italian born wife who has her family there isn't too keen on moving to another place.
Extraordinary rendition raised lots of questions about the role that, let's call them satellite countries, played in doing the bidding of the bigger Western powers. But in this story, we learn about Morocco taking part in this. Right. What more can you tell us about Morocco and Morocco's role?
Well, Morocco denies it. The place where he claims he was detained, Tamara, doesn't exist, according to Morocco's official line. And however, there have been testimonies. His is one, but there have been other testimonies. Someone who is a British citizen who claimed he was there. He was interrogated, tortured there by the Moroccan security services, with the assistance of Western intelligence services, probably the CIA or maybe the British intelligence services. There was a whole network that was created where people were flown from one place to the other, interrogated, because you had to have those satellite black holes, black sites as they're known, and this was really something that happened, including in Morocco, and it's a very, very sensitive issue in that country because the regime denies that it has ever taken place.
And briefly, Mark, he's an Italian citizen. I mean, the fact that it happens to someone from the EU, it's kind of remarkable, isn't it?
Yes, and for him it's a shame because he says, you know, this is my country now, and they didn't do anything to defend me, and probably they were complicit in all what happened to me from Pakistan to Morocco, and now that he's back, he doesn't even have the courage, the energy to lodge a complaint against Italy because he doesn't really trust it will go anywhere.
Mark Perlman, thank you very much indeed. To see Mark's report again, you can via our website, France24.com. This is Reporters. You're watching France 24. Stay with us.